So you enter the subway, and you're making your way to the platform when in the distance you hear a train approaching. So you quicken your pace, and you're running down the stairs, and you're thinking, is that my train? Adrenaline's pushing you forward. And you're almost directly in front of the train when you hear, "Stand clear of the closing doors, please." Well, that's what I hear in New York anyway. And at that moment, you're thinking uncertainty, do I jump, do I not jump? But it's decision-making time. So how many of you jump onto the train? Good. How many of you wait? Whether you wait or not has a different outcome when our intuition comes into play. You see, when we have to make a decision in a split second, there's no time to overthink, there's no time to question the outcome, and there's no time to fear the unknown. Reason is replaced with intuition, and our guts call the shot. And that can be a good thing. Intuition can be just as effective as an analytical approach in decision-making, some studies say. And in fact, even more efficient and effective, depending on the decision-maker's level of expertise. My intuition is my expertise. And this study, I like to think, gives me validation as to how I've lived my life. You see, when I'm on that platform, 9 times out of 10, I jump. Except, of course, when I'm with my partner. That number drops down to about 7, but he's an inventor, and he likes to think everything through. Yes? But when I jump and I'm on the right train, it's like I'm ahead of the game. Yeah? It's like, yes. And when I jump and I'm on the wrong train, well, what's the worst that can happen? I have to get off at the next stop. What's the worst that can happen? That sentence, for me, brings freedom. It makes us look at the worst case scenario. It makes us face our fears, decipher our level or our threshold. It also gives us power not to wait and get over any self-doubt. I'm going to share with you a few stories of my life where my intuition-led don't wait power came into play. A few years ago, I did a major career shift, and I went from being a world reporter, where I covered Europe in the 90s, the Middle East in 2000. I filed for most of major broadcasters and radio stations. I was on staff with the New York Times. I was an executive producer doing current affair hours and reality TV. Hell, I put Anthony Bourdain on TV. And then in 2014, I left media and I founded a robotics company, Aquai, to save the seas. It's a robotic fish. Yes, you heard that right. So it's a robotic fish with cameras and sensors, and we're monitoring the environment in the ocean unobtrusively. Now, the climate crisis, the ocean crisis, the need to do something other than cover conflict, all of that did, in fact, influence my decision to start Aquai. And I wish I could say that it was my gut screaming, "Don't wait, the planet needs you," which it does. But it was actually something else. I couldn't get a job. "Stand clear of the closing doors, please." That job train took off without me every single time I got to the platform. I had been in the Middle East over a decade, and I returned to the US, and I interviewed with all the usual suspects, and even got up to the point of maybe being one of the final contenders. Me and some 30-year-old guy. I was 48. Yeah. And after about the 3rd time of my job prospect derailing, I turned to my partner and I said, "I'm not going to wait for a job. We're going to take your invention and we're going to form a company." And that's how Aquai was born. Now, the decision to go from pursuing a job security to being an entrepreneur was a big scary one for me because I had never been a CEO. But after I did a lot of research and reading, I learned that a lot of CEOs who are successful actually follow their intuition. And that's something that I've always done. And in fact, I even heard that some of the most successful CEOs have made their best decisions based on instinct. And besides, what's the worst that could happen? I could fail, and I still might fail. but I won't be awaiting failure. And a Kwai is not waiting for someone else to save the planet, and nor should we. As you've heard today, do not wait. Our planet needs us. Mother Nature needs us. We're almost out of time. Wait and see. Just a minute. Heaven can wait. Wait to go to college. Oh, let's wait till we have more money in the bank. Or wait till the kids retire. Wait till the kids leave home. Or wait till, I know, huh? That's when we're taken care of. Or wait till you retire. There's so many reasons to wait. Wait till you get married before you, yeah, I didn't do that one either. I was unmarried when I got pregnant and had my firstborn, Tatiana. And imagine that. Yeah, that was long before Madonna or Murphy Brown made it hip. But there I was, 20, uneducated, forced to go on welfare, and a single mom. But I wasn't going to let being broke and a single mom stop me from my dreams. And I had big dreams. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to experience new cultures. I wanted to live a life that actually stories are written about. And so, for better or worse, I often ignored reason and followed my intuition. And Tatiana grew up with a mom who was taking her all over the world. So Tia was, I think, 10 months when I started college. And then her first day of elementary school was actually my first day of grad school. I had received a place at a pretty good university across the country, but I didn't have the money for the tuition. But something told me to go. And even though my family thought I was insane to fly from California to DC, prepared to sleep on a park bench if I had to, until a friend of mine said she had a friend who had a couch, I wanted to go. I did not want to give up on that dream. I was not going to wait. And sure enough, after speaking with American University, I found out that they actually could give me a fellowship, which covered a big chunk of that tuition. So because I listened to my intuition, the universe provided as it often does to those who don't wait. And the same thing happened again when I studied nearby. I showed up with my daughter on a scholarship, and I said, well, I told you on my application that I was a single mom. And they said, yeah, but I didn't think that you were going to bring her. Which still makes me laugh today. What, am I going to freeze her? So, no, I didn't have to freeze her, but, and it all did work out. They shuffled some university housing, and I got a place at the campus daycare, and I met one of my closest friends. And that experience actually led to another amazing opportunity at Auschwitz during the onset of the Yugoslav conflict. And it was because of what I learned and experienced at Auschwitz that I was able to get the fellowship at American University, which kickstarted my entire career. So there I was, living my dream. I was on the train that I intended. Yes. Now, when I'm in the field, usually surrounded by chaos, that's when my intuition tends to be the strongest. And it was actually at one in particular assignment that was incredibly chaotic that I was able to experience and tell the world through my lens. I was surrounded with clowns, medical clowns, the type that are trained to help children cope with trauma. It was Haiti, 2010, days after the earthquake that killed almost 2,000 people. Having spent a career covering conflict, I can tell you that was the closest to hell I'd ever seen. A bunch of us were in a van, and we were cruising through the city on our way hurriedly to get to somewhere, when in front of us we saw a girl. She was screaming, blood was everywhere. Immediately we stopped the van. threw her in. She had been robbed, she'd been attacked and slashed with a machete, severing one of her arteries. Quickly, we rushed her to the hospital. As we go inside, I'm rumbling off the ABCs, something that I learned from filming trauma shows a decade earlier. And in fact, there in front of me was one of the doctors from 10 years before that I had met while filming trauma. Later, I learned that the girl survived. And it was only because we didn't wait. And it was only because we rushed and didn't think and followed our intuition and brought her there that the doctors could stop the bleeding on time and she survived. Decisions that are more aligned with our core value and our sense of purpose are led by our intuition. I read that in a very wise book. So with that, I challenge each and every one of you that perhaps you also recognize that we're not supposed to just be around a stable environment, that maybe we need chaos to access our intuition, that maybe waiting brings along stagnation or even death. So perhaps the next time you have to make a decision, you try to remember that first little thought, the one that might have been pushed aside by reason, replaced with intuition. And if that feeling is really, really strong, then don't wait. Jump. Thank you.